Good morning and rise and shine once again on this Monday morning. And as always, we're going to be talking with the town of Rocky Mount and all the great things they've got going on. They're right in the middle of budget season, as are most government entities. But we've got a good friend of Cable 12 on here. You've familiar face every Monday night at 7 p.m. on Hanging at the Harvester. You see him out at all the great events going on in Rocky Mount. We may talk Harvester a little bit later after the break, but we're going to talk town of Rocky Mount to kick it off this morning. But Matt, thanks for coming out bright and early on this Monday morning.
Glad to be here. It's been a busy weekend, and I'm dragging a little bit, Absolutely. But yeah, that's a good thing for the town.
Absolutely, and we were talking about that in our first part of the show about all the great things that have been going on, especially in and around Rocky Mount over the last even if you go back for the last 2 weekends. You had the fishing rodeo with the Rocky Mount Police Department. Mm-hmm. To say it was a huge success would be a vast understatement. But
it would be, and that was a lot of hard work from our police officers, from our community policing staff, everybody who donated and supported. I know we had a lot of businesses, not just in Rocky Mount, but also Franklin County, that wanted to support, this idea of, all right, let's get the kids out to fish, at the start of the season so that they can, pursue this all summer long. Mm-hmm. When we first started this, the idea was to do it in October once things had cooled down a little bit. But then, November, December come and, kids, give it up.
Sure.
We want them to be able to enjoy this all summer long, see it as a year-round or at least an all summer long activity. So, the police department and our guys did really good with that, and really proud of what they did.
Absolutely. And if you saw those shots here on your neighborhood network, Cable 12, or maybe on our Facebook page, I got there right at 10 o'clock on the dot as they were getting started. And these kids and adults and parents were elbow to elbow. If you're familiar with Gillies Park there on the right side. Also, the town's done a great job cleaning up Gillies Park. It was very accessible all the way around. So just a great event, and fish caught left and right. Kind of wore me out going up and down the banks there. With seemed like every minute or so was being another fish caught. But then
some pretty spectacular ones.
Absolutely, especially I think what looked to be one of the youngest participants. We got a great shot of that. Caught one of the biggest trout.
I think 4.4 pounds, somewhere in there. So
the fish weighed more than years old for the young man. I think he was 4 years old. And he did it all by himself. We got it all on camera there. So that was a great event.
And that windmill that we've added at the park too is a nice decorative feature, but it also serves a purpose. And I know a lot of people haven't seen that yet, but it's an aeration windmill. So it's designed to pump air into the water, especially during the summer months, make a better fish habitat. Get more oxygen into the water, so fish are a little better able to survive some of the extreme temperatures, and it does make for a better habitat. We've just now in our first full season of seeing that work, mm-hmm. but we are investing in making that a better location for fishing. We do remind folks that there is a limit. You can't just go out there and catch what you want. That follow all Department of Game and Inland Fisheries requirements when it comes to fishing out there. You do have to have a license, and everything that would normally apply at any lake or stream applies at Gillies Pond as well.
Absolutely. So get out there and enjoy it. It's a great asset of the town, and it's a beautiful place, even if you don't fish, just to go out and have a nice little stroll around or have a picnic under the picnic shelter, and just lots of great facilities there. They do have the bathrooms on site, so lots of great improvements. And then you look to this past weekend, start off with the farmers market opening. I think I got there about 11. I missed that initial rush, but all of the vendors talking about how many people were there when they opened up and how their product quickly started to dwindle.
Yeah, they started out at 9 on Saturday morning, a little later than they would normally start, but it was opening day and they wanted to have some time that everybody showed up and started selling. The new market coordinator, Paul Cawley, did a really good job of reaching out to the vendors, reaching out to potential customers, getting word out on Facebook, mm-hmm. having people share it. And so they had something like 30,000 post engagements on the Rocky Mount Farmers Market page, and that's one thing that people can do to find out what's in season, to see what's coming up, what the vendors plan to do. I mean, looking at the variety that we had there on Saturday, quail eggs, pheasant eggs, chicken eggs. We had meat, so local pork, local beef. Wild Hair Farms had even locally made chorizo. That's a really great thing to be able to get on our market. You had craft vendors who had some outstanding crafts. You had a blacksmith on site making some things. You had candy, baked goods. Not a lot in the way of produce yet, but Brian Doyle had flowers and flats of vegetable plants and that sort of thing. This is really the time of year when we start to see people want to come out and want to have fresh local produce, whether they grow it themselves or they buy it from the local vendors. It's great to have. And of course, we also have our EBT participant program, so folks who have a need for the federal food programs can come and swipe their EBT card with Turner and Associates Accounting right next to the farmers market, get tokens to be able to spend down at the farmers market and get great fresh local produce and not have to go to the grocery store. So we love that we're able to provide that service. So folks can get pretty much whatever they want at the farmers market this year. We've got a really great variety, a lot of different producers who want to come in throughout the year. Even had more who showed up on Saturday for a meeting. They want to find out how they can sell there. We want as much variety as we can get. So if you're growing something and you've just got enough to sell on one day, come on down and sell. Odds are that we have some space available. If not, we'll try to accommodate you. But we just want folks to be able to come down, provide great local options and all sorts of different color. I mean, just seeing how colorful the market was on Saturday was a joy to see.
Absolutely, and it just creates a buzz through town. And like you said, if you're not following the farmers market on Facebook, that's a wealth of information of keeping you up to date on who's going to be there, what they're going to be having. So kind of driving you there. I think there may be, I saw one of the neat things is a farm that I think is going to be there this upcoming Saturday. They couldn't make it to opening day, but they have a YouTube channel that kind of does an update on their farm and the market. And it's just another way to stay connected with folks here in Rocky Mountain, Franklin County.
Yeah. Like you say, though, my wife owns the furniture store next to the farmers market, and when we showed up on Saturday morning to get her opened, we had to wait out in the street because traffic was blocked in the street waiting for spaces to open up at the farmers market parking lot. That's remarkable, for Saturday in April. The weather helped. Temperature was really nice and mild. It was a really great day to be out and just warmed up throughout the day. But to see traffic issues like that, that's a good problem to have.
Absolutely. And then a little bit later in the day there, just after the market started to wind down, Twin Creeks Distillery with their grand opening, ribbon cutting, festivities with their tasting room there. Yeah,
we're really glad to have Twin Creeks back in town. They've been through several different iterations, over the last, I think it's 5 or 6 years that we've been working on this. They originally opened up on Bird Lane in Rocky Mountain, so they started out here. But then they moved their production to Henry, and they've had a tasting room down there. But they wanted to be back around close to the activity, somewhere close to the Harvesters, somewhere with that downtown setting, so close to the Rocky Mountain Burger Company and the other amenities that are in the downtown. And now that they're back, I think that they're going to see some proof that if you're around activity, you're around people, you're going to see a pickup in business.
Absolutely.
We're just happy to have them back, and that was a fun event on Saturday too.
Absolutely.
Had one of the best attended ribbon cuttings that I've been to for Rocky Mountain.
Talk about spilling into the street, ribbon cutting almost spilling into the street there. But kind of before we get into the meeting that's upcoming and the budget season, one of the many things that you do with the town is kind of that community development side of things, of bringing businesses in and kind of showcasing what Rocky Mountain has. Talk a little bit about that, of what you're hearing from different folks who are maybe looking to relocate to Rocky Mountain from either in the area or from out of the area, of what they're saying about Rocky Mountain.
Well, we're getting very positive response, not just us, but the county. The county also does a good job with economic development, and if they have a client that doesn't fit for one of their spaces, they refer them on to us. We try to do everything that we can to attract businesses. So we're out talking to people, we're initiating those conversations, but we also have a lot of folks who just walk in the door. Folks are saying that they like the activity level, they like the investment that the town has made. Think about the millions of dollars that have been spent to improve the downtown, the uptown, revitalize those areas. to invest in the Harvester as a way to attract people to Rocky Mount on a consistent basis. Think back to a couple of weeks ago now, we had Blackberry Smoke there for 3 nights, and we had roughly 20% of the audience came and stayed for all 3 nights. So they a lot of them were from out of state. I think we had 13 different states represented. So they were coming from Georgia and South Carolina, but as far away as Alaska. So those folks are staying here. They're finding things to do. I had one couple from out close to Gloucester, Virginia, that had been here last February for both Blackberry Smoke shows, and they sort of had learned the lay of the land last year, and this year they were able to go out a little further afield. So they explored the Blue Ridge Parkway, they went to Ferrystone Park, they did some other things, but they also spent money in Rocky Mount. They stayed there, they had their meals there. It's really great to see folks coming in and experiencing what Rocky Mount has to offer. Now, with that said, we do have some opportunities. We do have some spaces where we'd like to see restaurants go into. Last week we had a town council committee meeting, and Tommy and Jody from Ippies were at that meeting. We were talking about expanding our arts and culture district to include the North Main area, which would take in Ippies, and they were there in support of that. But they were talking about the need for more restaurants, and that sounds really funny for them to say. You would think that they wouldn't want the competition, but it's really far from that. They say that what we need is more choice, more variety, more things to attract people to Rocky Mount to eat. So they see that there's room for improvement there. It's the same thing with hotels. We've got 2 hotels and now a handful of bed and breakfast opportunities, but we need another full service hotel. Somewhere that can accommodate large crowds. We've had a lot of nights where right now a lot of pipeline workers have been in the hotel space. They're starting to fill up some of those spaces again because they're coming back on, and it looks like they're getting back to work with the pipeline. But we've had a lot of nights where we've had to refer people on. They couldn't get hotel rooms in Rocky Mount. They couldn't get bed and breakfast rooms. So where do you stay? It's out at the lake. It's one of our other nearby facilities, or it's outside of our community. And nothing hurts worse than having to say, well, if you can't get a hotel room here, the closest is Roanoke or Martinsville. I hate saying that. I won't say that. My staff sometimes has to, but folks are finding other places to stay. Don't want them to do that. We want them to be here. We want them to experience what we have, not what one of our surrounding communities has. At least, we want to benefit from the majority of their time and investment here.
Absolutely, and we talk about it so often in many different ways about bringing those outside dollars in to Franklin County, bring them into Rocky Mount, and how important that is. And that kind of segues us into the budget, because that's one of the easiest, I don't know, use that term loosely, one of the best ways, let me say that, is to ease these budget issues, is to bring that more revenue in. When you bring more revenue in through that, you don't have to raise taxes, you don't have to raise fees and all those other things. So
we've been very fortunate that we've been able to expand our tax base. We've been able to bring a lot more people in, and that does reduce what our local residents have to pay in property taxes. We still have a very affordable property tax rate here in Rocky Mount. We do still have some spaces, particularly some shopping center spaces that we'd like to see filled. But our economy, like the national economy, has really bloomed over the last few years. So we're happy to see that, but we also don't want to see some of these available spaces linger. So like the J&J building downtown, it's always been used as retail. What can we put in there? How can we attract somebody to fill that? We've tried to let folks know it's an opportunity for, say, a microbrewery or a restaurant or another retail site. There's all sorts of things that could be done with that building, and we can help connect people to financing, to terms with owners. I mean, we can work with everybody involved to make sure that we get those properties off the market, get them filled and back up and running and into some productive use.
Absolutely. Well, as we look towards the budget season, it's going to be a busy week budget-wise for the town of Rocky Mount and all of you guys. But we talked with James a little bit about the budget last month. But are there any new highlights with the budget, or things that you think would be interesting to our viewers?
Well, this is a pretty straightforward budget. There's not a lot of new stuff in it. There's very little in the way of new capital investment. This budget is focused on recognizing that over the last few years we've had to spend some from our reserves. Not a lot, but we've had to spend some from our reserves, and we want to get back up to where we have a fund balance that Town Council has said is something that's acceptable. Rocky Mount is in exceptional financial shape compared to a lot of its peers. If you look at our budget, we could basically go a year without collecting taxes and still operate. It's probably well beyond that, but it's at least a year. That's a really good indication of our financial condition. We pride ourselves on being well run, well managed. Our town council sets policies, the administration executes them, and we try to keep things fairly lean if we can, recognizing that a lot of our new economic activity is generating revenue for us, particularly on the meals tax and the lodging tax side. So what we're proposing, or what the town manager has proposed in this budget, is very lean on capital. So we'll upgrade some public works equipment. We propose a new loader, which is one of the big pieces of equipment that they really need. A new police patrol truck, which is something that we've not done before. We frequently have a need to pull a trailer or to pick up cones after a race or event. You'll see in tonight's council meeting, I think we've got 3 or 4 races or parades or things that traffic control is required. So patrol truck would be a good thing for our staff to have. We've used trucks before, but never purchased a truck for the intent of using it as a patrol vehicle. We don't have a lot of new programs or new personnel in this budget, so it's really pretty straightforward. We'll see what council wants to do with it. They, as always, have the final say, but we meet tonight. The town manager, James Irvin, will introduce the budget. He'll talk about what his priorities are. Of course, Linda Woody, our finance director, has set a lot of those priorities. She's the one who's the gatekeeper. She decides what we can and can't afford in that budget. And then tomorrow night and Thursday night, we'll work through the budget line by line. We'll see what some of those priorities are, see where some of the spending is, and get council's direction on what they want to change, what they want to add or take away. As always, there's some give and take. When we were preparing the budget, we asked council for their direction, and then they offer some of that direction. But as always, you've got to have at least 4 people, and in some cases 5, to be able to vote to make that happen. If there's a tax increase or something that's involved, there's typically a requirement that you have 5, a super majority of council. So. We'll see what their priorities are, how they want to spend the money. As always, it's something that we take very seriously. The budget is not something to be laughed at or made fun of. This sets our priorities for the next year. And a lot of our expense is personnel. We have about 70 folks on our staff now that are very hardworking, very dedicated, to the town of Rocky Mount and its residents, making sure that you get the services that you expect and need. That we grow in an orderly sort of fashion, that we deal with issues that come up. Recently we've had the questions about inoperable vehicles and weeds and trash, the appearance of neighborhoods. And that's one thing from the community development side that I should mention is it is spring. It's time for cleaning up. Our public works staff is very busy picking up bulk trash. Folks have been out trimming. They've been changing out appliances and cleaning out their basements, and so they're very busy picking up all that. Let's make sure that our neighborhoods, our properties are picked up, cleaned up, orderly. That's one of the biggest draws from our time is that we do have folks who are concerned about their neighborhood. They complain about their neighbors or about a property that they're familiar with being cluttered or being a problem. And so not just in our residential areas, but also in our commercial areas. This is a good time of year to do a spring cleanup to get things looking fresh and new. And so we encourage all of our property owners here to take pride in Rocky Mount, make sure that your properties are looking good. As we green up and we start to bloom out, it's just great to see everybody pitching in to make sure that our community looks great, particularly when we have so many visitors coming in.
Yes, I mean, Rocky Mount is a beautiful community, as we all know. If you want to hear that budget presentation tonight at 7 p.m. At the Municipal Building, you can't miss it, right beside the Armory. So get out and you'll have an opportunity to hear about that, and also have an opportunity to make a comment if you would like. But as always, if you have a question, a comment, or a concern, you can always call the town offices as a first line, and they can maybe put you in contact with who you need to talk to, or maybe they can address the issue on hand there. So lots of opportunities to stay informed and to stay involved in your town, especially if you have a question or a concern or a comment. But here's something you could even do is if you have a praise for the town, let them know about it. Give them a call and say that you appreciate the hard work of somebody maybe that you saw out working hard with Public Works or with the water and sewer. It doesn't matter. If you see something that you like in the town, be sure to let them know so that they can continue to carry on the good work. But a couple of other things that you guys have been in the process over the last couple of months. The water meters, is that wrapped up or almost?
It's not wrapped up. It's close. There's two things going on. These new meters are called air read meters. So instead of having to send someone around and physically touch your meter box and read your meter for the month, they're able to send out their own signal. They send it to a tower, and the tower sends it back to the town hall, so that we can get an idea real time of how much water use is going on. If you're looking at a leak, our new software will be able to send you a text or an email and say, hey, you might want to check your toilet or your bathtub or your outside faucet. You appear to have a leak. But the installation is still ongoing. They've done a lot of the residential meters. They are getting to the business meters and commercial meters and industrial meters, but those tend to take a little longer because they're more complex. They've sort of done the easy part now, and they're on to the more difficult work. We also have to get our tower equipment, and it's essentially, like a CB antenna. It's going to be a very unobtrusive sort of antenna, but there's a couple of places where you have to put in new poles and mount those, and we're working with AEP to be able to do that so we can read everybody's meters. We're not putting the meter reader out of work. He's still going to be working with us, but now he can focus more on, instead of having to go out and reading the meters, he can focus on maintaining. If there's a meter that stops running or doesn't work right, he can go maintain those. There's plenty of other things he can do with the Public Works Department. So we're not putting anybody out of work by doing this. It's just making it better for the consumer, because you'll be able to get more information on your water usage. And it's making it easier for the town to do billing and actually see how much water is being used.
Absolutely. And then another thing that we have talked about in the past that we've saw come to fruition are lights at Mary Elizabeth Park. I don't know if they're fully operational. I haven't saw them at nighttime, but they have been installed and they look wonderful.
I don't believe they are fully operational yet. They're close. Public Works has been working on that for close to a year now. Putting in the courts and the playing surfaces, but we needed lights to be able to have everybody using those. And it's really close. So keep an eye out. That should be done fairly soon. But it was nice over the weekend to see so many people using Mary Elizabeth Park. The tennis courts, the playgrounds, the picnic areas, the new courts especially, to see basketball going on down there. I didn't see anybody playing pickleball, but I expect that's coming. So,
absolutely.
Just really good to be able to see folks using that investment that's been made into town facilities.
Absolutely. Well, anything else as far as the town goes that you'd like to talk about this morning or fill us in on? As you said, if you're kind of looking through the meeting, a lot of races are going to be coming up in the near future, and the budget presentation, and looks like business as usual.
Pretty much. We've got, like I say, some races and parades. We also have a couple of financial things to take care of. We're making an investment into the Cox property, which we've owned now for 16 years. The approach that we've always taken is we want to hold that in reserve for a large industry to come in and use most of that property, hopefully use the railroad siding. over the last 16 years, we've had a lot of opportunities. We've brought in a lot of prospective companies. We've talked to them, and some planned pretty large investments, but that site never worked out for a variety of reasons. Usually it was because of the lack of natural gas, and that's probably going to go away as a reason sooner or later. But now Franklin County has the Summit View Business Park, which can take on some of those larger potential tenants. So unless somebody just really desperately needs a railroad siding, it would be more likely that they would go out onto the Summit View, which is opening us up to be able to do some smaller developments. So some companies that may have 8, 10, 12, 30, 40 employees, but not need a whole lot of space. Maybe need 4 or 5 acres instead of needing a 20 or 30 acre pad site. So in order to accommodate that, we're asking the council let us install sewer line to serve those first wave of potential businesses going in there. We've got the first one under construction now. Absolute Collision is building its new collision shop there on Weaver Street. And we've got 4 other businesses that are interested in going onto that site. So, we're going to have utility service there sooner than later. So we're asking council to let us proceed with that work. We've bid it out, and we've got a good bid. So we'll see what council will authorize us to do. But we're staying busy. We got all sorts of things going on. There will be some other business tonight. Folks can come out. We're looking at. There'll be a report from that committee meeting that I referenced about the North Main Street Arts and Culture District designation. So we'll get some more direction from council and try to move that forward probably next month. So a lot of good things going on, a lot keeping us busy, and folks really ought to come out and see and participate in this. We are their local government. We're a lot of times we're the service providers that they see and can contact most directly. So come on out, keep an eye on us. Let us know what you like and don't like. If there's something that we need to address, like you say, you can call our offices. The town manager's office is 483-7660. Community development is 483-0907. So we're easy to reach. If we're helping somebody else, we'll get to you as soon as we can. But we are accessible. Come on out. Tonight's meeting is probably an hour meeting. Maybe slightly longer, but it's a good hour. It's a good opportunity for you to see what's going on, particularly as we get into budget season and see what the manager's priorities are for the community.
And one of those great things that's going on in the town of Rocky Mount is a cornerstone. And it's hard to believe. I think you're getting ready to start. What year is it going to be at the Harvester Performance Center?
We are finishing our 5th year of operation, getting ready to start year 6.
Getting ready to start year 6 of the Harvester. It feels like just yesterday. Every so often we run across the video of you guys announcing that you've purchased the property. We'll run across the video where you are announcing Gary Jackson as the general manager, or when you guys did the press conference and things weren't even completed inside. It's kind of fun to see that progression. But it's been just finishing up the 5th year of you guys being in operation, and just the people that have graced the Harvester stage is unbelievable.
It is. It is so amazing to see how the Harvester evolves, really even month to month. Some of the shows that we announce, the people that we have, the volunteers who make the guest experience so special. It just improves and keeps getting better, that's all because of the people who are involved. But because of the reputation that we have with the artists and the talent managers, the booking agents, we are able to get more and more big names coming through. We were reminded over the weekend, because Merle Haggard was born on, I believe, April 6th and died on April 6th. Folks were calling that Merle Haggard Day. We were so blessed to have him as, but we were able to get one of his last shows, and what a great show it was. We refer back a lot of times to what he said from the stage. He said, I think I've had more people in my living room. We had the building full, just jam-packed full of Merle Haggard fans, and he said, it's not this many people. So, it's really great to be able to do what we do what we do is economic development. It is bringing people to the town of Rocky Mount so they can shop here, stay here, dine here, experience what we have, and maybe come back. I know the realtors are using it as a point of emphasis in their sale. You'll see, home listings, because we try to keep an eye on those and track a little bit of what's going on in the housing market. But they'll say, within walking distance of the harvester, or close to the harvester, within a couple of miles of the harvester. That is a really strong selling point for some of the realtors in what they do. And so we're just grateful that we're able to help with the economy here, that we're able to bring people to Rocky Mount and see some benefit from that.
And one of the things, if you ever have a few minutes of time, it's going to take you a couple of minutes. Go to harvester-music.com, and they have a shows and tickets tab. You can click on that, and that's where you're going to see all the upcoming shows and be able to purchase the tickets. But they also have a little bit of a tab underneath it that says past shows. Just scroll through that list. It's going to take you a long time to get through it. I'm going to forewarn you now. And just look at the names and the groups and the people that you may not have even remembered in the last 5 years they get ready to start year 6 of who's been to the Harvester. And you'll start to realize how spoiled that we've got.
Well, we've done around 900 shows now at the Harvester. That's hard to believe we've been able to pull that many shows off. Sometimes we're doing them 2 in one night. We've got a lot of that coming up in April and May. But to be able to pull that many shows together takes a team effort. It takes a group, not just a great booking agent, which we have, not just a great marketing person, which we have, or a great box office manager or support staff. It takes a community that has been willing to embrace what the Harvester does. Says, yes, this is great. Keep bringing these stars to our community. We are all in this together, and I'm grateful for the support that Franklin County, Rocky Mount give to the Harvester. I did some analysis over the Thursday and Friday of last week, talking about where the money comes from, and that's going to be a centerpiece of our report on the Harvester's 2018 operations that we'll give to the Economic Development Authority and the Town Council. You're going to be interested to see where that money comes from.
And I think next week we're going to have a special show here on Rise and Shine. We're going to be at the Harvester Performance Center, and that's one of the pieces that I think we're going to be discussing. We're also going to be talking with, hopefully talking with Rex about the ticket purchasing process, maybe talk about how you can volunteer, because that's one of the great things the Harvester has going on, are lots of wonderful volunteers.
I'll mention one of them. Former Franklin County School Administrator Johnny Smith is one of our newer volunteers. We put on 20 shows in March, and that was some sold out Blackberry Smoke shows. There were some smaller shows, but there were a lot of shows with a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of welcoming folks into the community. Johnny Smith was there for all of them. So I don't know if Johnny's watching this morning, but Johnny, if you are, thank you for what you did last week. We are still making volunteer opportunities available. We have about 80 or so now who some are there every 4 or 6 weeks. Some are there every night. Johnny. Our friends Johnny and Allison Nunley are there most every night behind the bar. There's a lot of our local volunteers who give as much time as they can to make this a great guest experience. And what we've really experienced is that this is family. We have come together in a way that is pretty remarkable. We all are interested in music and in providing great customer experiences to folks who are there for the music. And it really has created a strong bond. So I'm really, really happy to be a part of that family.
Absolutely. And here on this Monday, you guys have announced a couple of new shows. Again, a couple is an understatement. They've announced a list of new shows that are going to be coming to the Harvester Performance Center over the next couple of months. And we let the cat out of the bag a little bit early last week on Hanging at the Harvester every Monday night at 7 p.m. So again, you never know what you're going to hear with Rex and Matt on Hanging at the Harvester.
So sometimes we we announce that, and then the date gets pushed back for the ticket sales. We've already recorded it. We just say, all right, we'll let Cable 12 have the scoop.
That's right. And that show that we let out of the bag a little bit early, an evening with Leanne Rimes on her acoustic tour, quickly approaching though on June the 28th, but we know those tickets will go fast.
Yeah, just about 10, 11 weeks away. You don't want to wait. Those tickets go on sale, I believe, Friday. They are in pre-sale now. So folks who want to buy their tickets early, in order to get those passwords, you have to be a part of our email blast. So go to the harvester-music.com webpage. At the very top of the page, you'll see a box. You just fill in your email address, hit the submit button, and we'll include you so that you get that early recognition of, oh, this great show's coming. I've got to go buy my tickets. And you can do so early. Typically, we'll open ticket sales up on Wednesday for shows that go on sale to the public on Friday. So, it's a little bit of an exclusive thing. You get to be a part of this exclusive club that can go buy your tickets early.
Yeah. A couple of the other shows that you guys have announced, Emily Wolfe on the Landing Pad stage.
Yeah,
on May the 9th.
Emily Wolfe is a lot like Grace Potter. For folks who are fans of Grace Potter and the Nocturnals, or who know her work with Kenny Chesney, you're going to get a good idea. Emily's based out of Austin, Texas, so she's part of that Austin music scene, and she is just a great rock performer.
Absolutely. May the 10th, that's a Friday night. You're going to have Michael Martin Murphey.
Yeah, going to have about a month to buy those tickets. His biggest hit was Wildfire, and fans of sort of that yacht rock, mellow 70s rock are going to recognize his style. But he's sort of a rock country kind of guy. Did a lot of cowboy songs and that sort of thing. Still has a fantastic voice, and it's a really good experience from what I've been told. So if you were a fan of Wildfire or any of his other work, it's a great opportunity to see him up close and personal.
Now, this next group, I know you guys talk about it on Hanging at the Harvester tonight at 7 o'clock. Cracker on Sunday, May the 26th. And you got to have a conversation about that on tonight's show.
We will. They're just a fantastic rock band. They broke through when I was in college, so they've been at this for a while. It's one of my wife's favorite bands, so we're looking forward to that show. And it's Memorial Day weekend, so it's a Sunday night show. Really great way to continue your Memorial Day weekend.
Thursday, June the 6th, the Yonder Mountain String Band.
Yeah, one of the great string bands that's out there. The sort of progressive bluegrass. They use bluegrass instruments. It doesn't always sound like bluegrass though. They compare favorably to our friends, the infamous String Dusters. They are on the same tour circuits a lot. So, we're looking forward to having them. It's the first time we've had them here at the Harvester. So, we want a full house that night.
Absolutely. Coming up on Wednesday, July the 17th, Scott Stapp of Creed.
Yeah, that's one that folks haven't heard yet. So you're hearing it here first on Cable 12. I'm not sure. I don't believe we even discussed it on Hanging at the Harvester. So
a fresh show.
Creed, of course, huge rock band. They had #1 hits, time and time again. And Scott Stapp was their lead singer. I believe they've gone on permanent hiatus, but he's still out there performing. He's been through this area a few times. I know he's been to Lynchburg, but he's not been to Rocky Mount before. So we're looking forward to having him at the Harvester.
And the last new show that's being announced today, Three Dog Night on Saturday, July the 6th. That just sounds like a summer 4th of July type show.
Yes, it does. And we do have several options around that. We've got Amy Helm on the 3rd, Levon Helm's daughter, fantastic singer and songwriter in her own right with a really great band behind her. But to add Three Dog Night back into that mix, it is a summertime sort of thing. They've been to the Harvester. I believe this is their 4th time. They really enjoy performing at the Harvester. Last time they were here, it was a little bit of a shortened performance, but they've got some of their issues addressed there, and we're looking forward to a full night of some of that great classic 70s sound. Jeremiah was a Bullfrog. One is the Loneliest Number. Some of the great Three Dog Night hits.
So lots of great shows, and all of this can be found at harvester-music.com, 540-GUITARS. You can give them a call at the box office, or you can go down and visit Rex and the other folks who are there in the box office every Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 4, a little bit later on show days, and just talk music. If you want to talk music, Rex is your guy. Just stop in, get your tickets, and talk with. If you don't know what tickets you want to buy, he will definitely find a show to fit your taste.
Yeah, and before anybody comments or calls or emails in, I know it's joy to the world. My dog got out late last night. It was a late night, very little sleep. So, I know it's joy to the world.
So we don't need any questions, calls, or comments to the town office today about that. But again, get out and enjoy the Harvester Performance Center. You can do that every Monday night at 7 p.m., hanging at the Harvester with Rex and Matt. You can also see that on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Be sure to go over and like the Harvester Facebook page. Always great stuff being put out on that. I know you also participate in a radio show that folks can tune in to listen to, if you want to plug that a little bit.
Well, I appear on radio fairly often. I'm on B99 the first Monday of the month, and I'm on 102.5 The Mountain out of Vinton. That's really our only AAA station. The adult album alternative is what a lot of our artists are referred to as. And so that's our only one here close by, and so we do an hour at the first Thursday of the month. So we try to get the word out all that we can. It's a lot of work promoting these shows. When you're doing 20 to 30 shows a month, that's a lot of work behind that. It doesn't just come together magically, even though we try to make it look seamless.
Absolutely. So when you see a show that you enjoy and you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to spread the word in all the ways that you possibly can. Matt, again, thank you for coming out bright and early on this Monday morning. I know you got a busy week ahead, so we're going to let you get back to the office.
Three council meetings in 1 week. So, but this is an important week. It's one that we want to pay as much attention to as we can and make sure that we get things right for the coming fiscal year.
Absolutely. And again, we appreciate all that the town does for us here at Cable 12, as well as keeping it a great place to live, to work, to play, to shop, to eat, to just participate in a great community.